Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 quick match gameplay. This time around we are playing as the Empire against the Greenskins on the map Chaos Wastes, and this is definitely a very for fun match. Obviously it's for the 4th of July. I wanted to do a little bit of a rocket and explosive build. We got our good old fireworks here with the Hellstorm rocket battery, the Sunmaker. Then we got some firecrackers here with the Outriders grenade launchers. So going with a little bit of silliness against the Greenskins. And my opponent decided to not only bring a silly build, but an outright ridiculous build. So this promises to be a bit of a fun match. Definitely nothing too competitive or too crazy, but basically just wanted to show what I thought was a pretty hilarious game. For my composition here, I did want to at least be somewhat competitive. Obviously, if my opponent had brought, say, more serious build, I wanted to be able to counter it. So what I did was I did bring Boris here on the usual reasoning. He's just strong, and against Greenskins, he's really solid because they don't have too much to shut down flyers, hold the line, White Cloak, Madeline, Runefang, Crush the Weak, the usual sort of kit. So he's really strong. Alongside him, we do have a Light Wizard on a horse. I forgot to throw Exorcism off and swap it out for a Power Stone. Oh well. But he does have Frost Protection and Net of a Mintock. Front line, and we kind of separated, and what I kind of did here with my deployment was separate into two segments. So I had one area for my rockets, I had one area for my main line, and the reason I put the rockets off to the side like this was I figured that if my opponent decides to push in with, say, Black Orcs or his main line, this way the Hellstorm rocket, which has a very sort of oval or oblong, a very odd sort of arc, or a very odd sort of landing area for its rockets, would be able to get more value if it was hitting from the flank rather than from head on, where you're probably just going to hit, say, two rockets in the center of a formation and then everything else is going to overshoot or undershoot. So I figured that would be good. So we've got this kind of fortified artillery battery pocket off to the side. They're covered by 2 spears and Free Company. Main line, spears, Sigmar Sons, backed by Outriders, who will do well against even heavily armored troops like Black Orcs, and then 2 Reichsguard, because of course heavy cav is good against Greenskins. The Free Company in the front as well. These guys will do okay at zoning off units like Mogros, Mangy Marauders, Goblin Wolf Archers, that sort of stuff. I think that's really the main reason I brought them, to zone off those sorts of infantry, because against archers you can usually deal with them with the Reichsguard or Flying Lords units like that. Now, for my opponent's build, he took the ridiculousness up to a whole new level. He's got the Mogros Mangy Marauders in the back and the Moonhowlers. Nothing fancy there. That's kind of to be expected. You see that all the time. But really where the silliness comes in is over here. You can see for his Lord, the Night Goblin Warboss on foot. He does have Spite of the Bad Moon, Wah, and Get Back here. He's backed up by Orc Shaman with all of his spells. I don't think this is worthwhile. If you're bringing caster, that's fine. That's all you usually want. Well, maybe not always, but usually want to have a caster. But don't bring all the spells. It's usually not worth it. But regardless, for my opponent's front line, the 2 Regiment of Renown Night Goblins, the AP Cloonies, which are still bugged, and it just says Night Goblins, the Warlords Boys, Orc Boys, and then a plethora of Night Goblin Archers backed by the Rusty Arrows, and 3 artillery pieces. He's got the Doom Diver Catapult, he's got the Hammer of Gork, and he does have a Goblin Rock Lobber, who's just chevron up a whole bunch to improve its accuracy. And you can see my poor Free Company here eating the first volley and just getting absolutely demolished. They're down to 73 models. A volley is going to come in from the Doom Divers, and you can see they're adjusting their course there, and they lose another chunk of their army. They're another 20 models, I think, there. My opponent also does have the Ragnarok Queen in the back to provide some fear, terror, some additional holding power, what have you. In the back, my opponent is trying to sort of skirt around the edges of my formation. You can see the Free Company. It does start unloading on the Moonhowlers, who do lose a model before they even get into range. But because I wasn't paying the best attention here, the Spearmen actually do get skirted around. They're going to get into the Free Company. But this was a bit of a mistake for my opponent. The Moonhowlers, they are a Regiment of Renown. They are Revenancy 9. But honestly, if you're dealing with Empire troops, you want to be using the advantage of their fear and the fact that they can do something on the charge to, say, rout off an artillery battery. Using it up on a Free Company militia is a big mistake in my opinion, and you can see they are getting bogged down here. They're going to get slaughtered, and they're not going to get too much done. Now over here on the other flank, you can see Mogros Mangy Marauders taking a pounding, getting beaten down, and you can see the rockets have already left a bloody swath of destruction here. So Boris is pushing in. He's getting shot, actually. I think the Doom Divers aiming for the back line are actually hitting Boris. But you can see my Outriders here pounded to death by artillery. At the same time, Mogros Mangy Marauders over there getting routed, and Boris is going straight for the Arty Park. Having seen that my opponent didn't have, say, any Night Goblin, any nasty Skulkers in there, I figured, you know what, we can try to rat off some of these troops, get after this Doom Diver, get after these veteran up troops, and get them off the field. In the front lines, Sigmar Sons clashing with the Warlords Boys, where they will be able to win. You can see the artillery raining down. At this point, it's a less than optimal arc. But, you know, we're trying. We're lighting up the sky. You can see just a barrage of rockets raining in, exploding gobos. And I absolutely love the Hellstorm rocket batteries. I just wish they were actually a decent unit, which they are not. In the pits, these spearmen chasing off the Night Goblin archers. Over here, these spearmen overchase, get into the Goblin Rock Clobber. Despite my opponent popping a wall, they're going to get massacred shortly. Over here in the pits, the Reichsguard slaughtering the AP Gloonies, who, despite being unbreakable, will not be able to win here. And my opponent's Morgos and Mirage have been shattered, as have the Goblins. So I'm able to pull this defensive force around and start coming back. You can see the Orc boys here just getting absolutely demolished by that barrage of high explosives, and it's just raining in there, exploding Orcs into little bloody gobbets. And they're really not having the time of their lives. And my opponent actually didn't move them. He forgot about this unit, I think. And you can see just as those artillery rockets just raining in, death and destruction for the poor Greenskins. And they're losing about 12. They're losing a dozen models at a time. And if they're looking slow, you can see that this is the problem with the arc. It's just so flat. It's actually hitting my own spears there in the rear. But you can see the rockets here just raining in and exploding amongst those Greenskins. So the Greenskin filth definitely getting purged today. Honestly, not the greatest value here from the Sunmaker, but it just doesn't have any good targets here, so it is what it is. The Spearmen over here overrunning my opponent's backline. They've already slaughtered one crew. They're on to the next. The Hammer of Gork is going to go down. You can see the Outriders now pushing in, firing their shots. With that high arc, they're able to sort of... Before they used to have... Back in Warhammer 1, one of the big problems with these guys wasn't their arc was pretty flat, even though they did have an okay arc. Now they're much more competitive at just arcing over and demolishing these sorts of troops on, that your opponents are tangled up with. The Reichsguard, in the meantime, overrunning my opponent's positions. The Warlords boys are going to crack. The Hammer of Gork here cracking, and the Arachnarch Spider, which tried to engage on Boris earlier, is actually just sitting here doing nothing. So if we take a quick look at the field, nothing fancy. My artillery is still trying to hit these archers, up to 137 kills, but most of them are gobos. It is what it is. It's nothing impressive. It is not like I just slaughtered 137 Swordmasters. So you can see that entire volley wasted, doing just nothing, I think. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one rocket hit. But now the grenade launchers are in there, they're going to pound these Night Goblins into pulp. Reichsguard surrounds the War Boss, and is trying to get in, like, they were trying to overrun the Doom Diver, but we do get a surround on the War Boss. We are whittling down the Ragnarok. Reichsguard not really good at hunting monsters, but, you know, they can try their little hearts out. My opponent does get his Rusty Arrows back. In the back line, in the meantime, the Night Goblin's getting chased off the field, so we're just going to throw things in the fast forward at this point, because there's very little left to be done. The Rockets expend their last remaining volleys on over here on these poor Greenskins, just wrecking those Night Goblin archers, but really at this point, it's just GG. You can see my opponent's still summoning some troops. Over here, I'm just tying down the Ragnarok Queen with some spears and shooting her with 3 company, using Boris to try to get rid of these spider hatchlings. My opponent does use his Rusty Arrows a little bit here, trying to whittle Boris down, perhaps still trying to win, but honestly, at this point, it's just game. You can see the Night Goblin War Boss getting run down, getting shattered, and at this point, it is going to be the final break for the Greenskins. So, a close victory. This wasn't to show off any fancy builds. I'm not even entirely sure how these guys gained 9 chevrons. I don't know if that's a glitch. I'm pretty sure they did not get... I don't think I invested in that many chevrons for them. I think this is some sort of bug, because these guys definitely did not have 9 chevrons. Regardless, quick overview. Nothing fancy. This, honestly, even if you're looking for a competitive Empire build, this is not what I would recommend. If you're trying to do a competitive build with Sunmaker or a fun build with Sunmaker, this is workable. I think this can do okay, but if you're trying to do an actual competitive build that'll do well, I would not recommend this. The Sunmaker, 168 kills over the course of a kind of extended combat against an enemy that was really easy to kill. I paid 1,800 for it. Definitely not paying for itself. If your opponent brings any units that are not hyper-elite infantry, so Chosen, Swordmasters, Blackguard, it's basically not going to pay for itself. But I figured all in good fun. The Outriders and the Sunmaker had a lot of fun wrecking some gobos. And for my opponent, once again, ludicrous build, so a lot of just silliness on both sides. Whole bunch of gobbo artillery, whole bunch of gobbo archers. Obviously, these guys just fell apart. There wasn't much they could have really done against at least a semi-competitive comp like this one. But good game to my opponent here. I like Big Pots. Absolutely ridiculous build. I thought it was pretty fun. So yeah, that's a little bit of a 4th of July special. A few firecrackers and a rocket in tow. So let this guy put some gobbo fireworks. Regardless, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it a little entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below if you have not already. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, anything like that, be sure to share them, and I'll respond as soon as I can. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.